The P. Diddy scandal is finally uncovered, and we can now see just how dark and twisted the mind of Sean P. Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka Love, really is. And not just him either. In this video, you will find out just how sick the celebrities we all once loved and knew were responsible for the culture of our society really are. From some of the most disturbing sex parties ever recorded, a plethora of sexual misconduct allegations, the controlling of various celebrities on his own Love Islands, where he claimed he would take people off the radar.
I got an island, it's called Love Island. When you going off the grid with me, you gotta go to sleep for a week.
The P. Diddy situation is profoundly disturbing, and now that he is in custody, only time will tell what's going to happen next. But the fact that this has been going on secretly, behind the closed doors of Hollywood, and undiscovered for decades, shows just how well covered Diddy really was. But now finally, after so many allegations, so much evidence, and a ton of speculation, the truth is being revealed right in front of our very eyes. If you somehow haven't heard of Diddy, I will provide a short but to the point introduction. Diddy was a famous musician known for the heavy involvement with Biggie Smalls. Before he was infamous for his crimes, he was at the top of society. He had extremely close connections with some of the biggest and most powerful names in the world. He knew everyone in the music industry, from Kanye West to Jennifer Lopez, and even an incredibly young teenage Justin Bieber. The initial investigation of Puff began in November of 2023 by Diddy's now ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura. She accused him of misconduct and filed lawsuits. Cassandra and Diddy would later settle this in court the very next day, and one of his lawyers, Ben Brofman, was clear that it was by no means an admission of wrongdoing. After all of this, in order to prove his innocence, we would receive a statement from Puff himself stating that, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best." Guilty or not, which we now know is guilty, this case was certainly enough to make a stain on his name. Cassandra then released a statement thanking her friends and family for their support, and the settlement amount was left undisclosed. It seemed to be a case closed, done deal, and all of this was settled. Or at least, that's what we thought. Little did Sean know, this would be the beginning of the end, and would kick off the insane number of lawsuits, accusations, and investigations against Puff. A further 2 lawsuits were then filed with accusations of abuse and sexual assault by 2 other women. The first, Joy Dickerson, claimed that in 1991, when she was just a 19-year-old college student, P. Diddy drugged her after their date and sexually assaulted her in her home. The second being Liza Gardner, who was the next person to come forward claiming she and her friend were drugged and put into 2 separate rooms. Then, both Diddy and Aaron Hall would do awful sexual acts against them. She then would go on to say that her friend received the same treatment as well, as it seems like they both took turns doing these awful crimes against these poor girls. Liza was just 16 at the time, and then, a few days later, P. Diddy pulled up at her house and assaulted her again. This time, choking her until she passed out, as he was irritated at the thoughts that Liza might mention this to his then girlfriend. Then, in December of 2023, another person came forward with claims that she had been gang and sexually trafficked. She said that Harvey Pierre, who is the president of Bad Boy Records, flew up from Detroit in New York in 2023. However, while with them, a third man joined P. Diddy and Pierre and ganged her. P. Diddy even complained that he couldn't finish until he had his nipples pinched. This case included a photograph on the night in question of Liza, only 16, sitting on Diddy's lap. This was now the 4th woman to come forward in just a matter of weeks. This time, Diddy did not take this into court. He issued a statement on Instagram saying, and I quote, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, and my legacy. Sickening allegations being made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of these awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." However, things weren't adding up and seemed off. In Usher's interview with Howard Stern, we can see subtle suggestions that indicate that these new allegations were possibly founded as far back as 2016, back when the interview took place. Usher described his experiences when he lived with Diddy for a year, and he said he was exposed to some very curious things, but at that age, he didn't understand that.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was.
In an interview with Usher in 2004, he elaborated on his experiences with living with Puff. There was always girls. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen. With this in mind, it wasn't surprising that by February 27, 2024, the producer of Diddy's album, The Love Album, sued Diddy for $30 million over alleged sexual assault. He claimed that he was drugged and woke up next to two male sex workers, and Diddy himself. Diddy was now pretty desperately trying to put out the fires, as more and more took to flame. Puff actually admits that he did document everything in his life, so any sexual male acts could have been easily caught up on tape, and the fear of that exposure will keep some from coming forward as well. Diddy's former bodyguard said in an interview that the so-called freak-offs included Diddy having with male escorts, and his then-girlfriend was forced to find it. She was also forced, along with the prostitutes and Diddy himself, to wear masks, as to hide identities. And then finally, on March 25th, 2024, P. Diddy's LA homes in Miami were raided by the Department of Homeland Security investigations in New York. The raid was a part of the investigation of sex trafficking led by the Southern District of New York, perhaps prompted by the now 5 victims who have come forward, one of which was a male who also chose to remain anonymous. Because of this, they seized guns and P. Diddy's phone. And of course, who could forget the 1,000 bottles of baby oil found on the property? During the raid, the police arrested both of Diddy's sons, as they were trying to take anybody involved down. And now, with the outpouring information, we can finally see how disgusting this Hollywood celebrity culture truly is. Now, obviously, I'm sure you got the idea that these parties were insane. At this party, it was reported that the drugs involved were used to keep participants to be able to have for at least 30 hours. An important one being a pink drink called the Tusi, which involved Special K, also known as ketamine, a literal horse tranquilizer to keep partygoers' muscles relaxed. It also involved coke, and finally, Viagra. It has been reported that major Hollywood celebrities were taking place in this stuff, especially with the recent allegations coming forward in the last couple of weeks. And it is truly disturbing to think what was going on during these parties. There was recently a video that was released by CNN of P. Diddy assaulting Cassie, which further supports their claims. The video shows her trying to leave the hotel party. P. Diddy had already given her a black eye by this point. In the video, we can see Diddy run out of the room, down the hallway, wearing nothing but a towel. As he catches up to her waiting by the elevators, he violently pushes her down, then proceeds to kick her twice, and drags her down the hall. In the footage, it shows further abuse when he throws a bunch of glass in her direction. After this footage went public, he posted his famous apology on Instagram.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for His mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Saying how he was disgusted with himself when it happened, and he's disgusted with himself now. Claiming that he sought help after the incident, which we all can safely assume was another blatant lie. LA County District Attorney's Office also issued a statement that while the video was hard to watch, they could not use it for further action, as the footage and incident happened beyond the timeline where it would be legal use. However, they encouraged others to come forward. It was explained that he did pay the hotel $50,000 for the footage, and that it would not be leaked to the public. That is the reality that we live in. This is the only incident caught on surveillance, and actually exposed to the public. She claimed P. Diddy would go into fits of rage, and that she was his main target of savage beatings. She claimed that he would force her to engage in sexual acts with male workers, while and filming the encounters, what we all know now as a freak-off. She also claimed that she tried to leave Diddy for the last time in 2018, but after she broke up with him at dinner, he allegedly forced his way into her home and raped her. She was also involved in a short relationship with Kid Cudi. In February 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, Mr. Combs told Miss Ventura that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and that he wanted to ensure that Kid Cudi was home with his friends when it happened. While this all might seem like a jealous threat from a man who was just simply disturbed, around that time, 2 weeks later, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. Now everything was up in flames, as more people came forward with more accusations. This all came out around the same time period, and P. Diddy was looking rather for the worse. In fact, his character was so destroyed, a Detroit inmate won a $100 million lawsuit against Puff by default. It seemed Diddy didn't even try to show up and defend himself. The case stating that Derek Lee Cardello Smith, 51, accused Combs of drugging him and sexually assaulting him at a party in Detroit, Michigan in 1997. And the worst thing about it is, I don't think that P. Diddy is alone. I think he is just the tip of the iceberg as to what we're going to uncover with all of this information coming out. And that's going to do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this one and would possibly like to see more, as there is undoubtedly more evidence about this case that will come out in the near future, I would be happy to make another video about it. If you want to show your support for this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button, like button, and the notification bell, as it all helps this channel's eventual goal to get to 10,000 subscribers. And that's about it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will see you guys next time. See ya.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.